next, we are back with Teal'c.
Oh, oops. I guess I made him collapse before he did.
Oh. Did you? Oh, yeah.
Oops.
So you did. Okay, well, I guess I'll skip over that then.
Okay. Oops.
Welcome to Stargatesing, a Stargate-gazing podcast where in almost 6 years of weekly episodes, we've covered 10 seasons of SG1, 3 seasons of Atlantis, and now we wrap up the pod with 2 SG1 movies. Hello.
How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing fine as well.
Fabulous.
Yeah. What's up? How's life?
Very busy.
Shocking. I'm so shocked to hear that.
Know, right? It's not a thing that I ever say when you ask how things are going.
Nope.
It was an extra busy week.
Okay.
But it's like the semester is wrapping up, so I've just got like a bunch more grading and stuff, and final projects are due, and almost time for exams and lots of stuff.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my life currently.
That's fun.
Yeah. How has your week been?
Okay, work's been busy because it is also the end of the semester for us. And we had, as I mentioned to you, but I'm not going to talk about the details, we had a discovered snafu that will have implications for graduating students as well as all students. It's
great.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's so dumb. I'm so mad about it.
Yeah. It's just dumb.
But otherwise, things are fine. Been hanging out with Blue Steel. I went to a talk this week at the local library about the public history of trees, which was fun. Yeah. That was pretty cool. And I had a union rally. Good times.
Yeah. I've had a lot of union stuff happening too, since contract negotiations have been ongoing forever. Although they did finally wrap up and approve one, at least for us. But the other teachers union that is at the school that I am at does not come to any agreement on theirs.
Oh, man.
So, good times.
How are the teachers' unions? Is it divided between like departments or something? Or
nope, you just choose when you start working there which one you want to join. And it's
wow.
Weird. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So even within a single department, some people are part of one union and some people are part of the other union. It's very weird.
How does that happen?
I have absolutely no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah, makes no sense. And the agreements are different. So yes, we do get paid differently from the people that are... Actually, my union, unfortunately, I get paid slightly less than the people in the other union, which I didn't realize when I was signing up for it. But
that's
wild. It only matters for online-only classes, and I only have one online-only class. But the online-only classes, they get paid more than we do, which is dumb.
Interesting. That is dumb, but that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So dumb, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
All of our unions at my school are under the same parent union. So we negotiate different things, but also our jobs are classified differently.
Yeah. That makes it. We also have different staff unions too. So there's like a bunch of different unions.
So many unions.
At our school.
Which I do appreciate there being unions.
Yes, I do too. But there shouldn't be different pay agreements between the different unions realistically.
That's so
and
wild.
I even asked our acting president at one point in a meeting, speaking on behalf of my union, if she believes in equal pay for equal work. And she said, well, it depends. And I wanted to be like, okay, so no, and you suck.
Whoa.
Yep. Yeah.
What are you even doing in a union, friend?
She wasn't. This was the president of
it was the
school.
president. I see. Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah. No, she was the president of the school that I was asking this to because we were still in negotiations trying to get parity with that other union.
But yeah, no, that's trash. She's trash.
Yeah, I don't like her. She's interim anyway, though, so hopefully that
Hopefully.
interim will be shorter rather than later.
And not
rather than longer.
interminable.
Yeah. Anyway.
So.
You know who could also maybe use a union? I don't know.
Or soldiers?
No, I was thinking more the military, but...
Well, sure.
Because I would certainly hope that Cam Mitchell especially is getting extra hazard pay for all the times that he gets beat up.
I sure hope so.
Which I imagine he does. I don't really know, though.
Maybe Toman's going to create a utopia in that other galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah, they could also use a union, though. You're right.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
So, yes, they all could use unions.
Yes, indeed. What is this? Well, not episode, but what is this thing, this movie that we are talking about today, where they did not seem to have any unions?
We're talking about Stargate SG1, Is it still SG1 or is it
It
just...
is.
Okay. I know it's SG1, but
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, technically it is just Stargate, the Ark of Truth, but it is considered part of the SG1 catalog.
All right. So I will go Stargate SG1, the Ark of Truth. A movie.
A movie. A full-length movie. Hour and 40 minutes. So a short movie, but
still a
a movie nonetheless. With higher production values.
Yes, I was going to say they did work to make it cinematic, I
Yes.
think, at least in some respects.
It definitely did feel more movie-like than TV show-like.
And I think that starts off with the opening title, which which sounded beautiful. I loved it.
I agree. And it was a nice take on the music that we've been hearing for so much of this show, but just much more orchestral and pretty and
Yes, I think they actually, in fact, used an actual orchestra for it.
It sounded like it. There was also a lot of stuff later that as I was watching it and thinking, I bet they hired a full choir for this, it sounds like, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I did hear that as well. I think there was actually even a soundtrack released.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. I don't have it, but
I don't
think
either.
so.
That would make sense. So yeah, it did start with a lot of panning over mountains with a dramatic soundtrack, which made me actually think of the opening to Cliffhanger, and now I want to watch Cliffhanger.
You're right. It does seem like Cliffhanger, and now I also want to watch Cliffhanger.
An excellent movie. I love that
Maybe
movie.
we should make Stephanie watch Cliffhanger with us.
Yes.
As our activity.
Excellent.
That's a friend of ours.
Yes.
We have other friends.
We do. Not too many.
But this one's mutual.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway.
Come in, goddammit!
Have you got what we need?
So, yeah, there were several minutes of panning. I actually fast-forwarded through some of this. 'Cause it got really a little too long for my ADHD brain, so I fast-forwarded a bit through some of the panning over mountains, even though the music was nice. And then we get a little banner at the bottom of the screen that says millions of years ago in a distant galaxy. And in one of those...
Sorry.
long ago in a galaxy far, far away, but we can't say it that way, so let's word it this way.
Nope.
As we are continuing to pan over the mountains, we see that there's a little plateau on the side of one mountain, and there's a little city on that plateau. And under that city, there is a cave, and there is a meeting of people in that cave. There's all kinds of books and machinery. I did notice one of the communication devices, the ancient communication devices behind them as they were discussing what they were going to talk about here. I don't know that we really get any names for any of them, although some of them did look familiar. The lady with the short curly hair looked familiar to me, and I think she's been on this before.
I've definitely seen her somewhere, and I meant to look it up, but I looked up other things, but I forgot about her.
Fair.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyway, they're discussing something. It's a little bit cryptic. We don't know exactly what they're talking about. They're just basically saying that they can't hide their way any longer. The Ori have become too powerful. They're going to destroy everybody if this group of people doesn't do something, which got me to thinking, are the Ori then way older than the ancients? Because as far as we know, the ancients only date back to like a couple tens of thousands of years because they didn't ascend until like 50-ish thousand years ago or something. So I guess the Ori are way older?
Hard to know. I thought they all came from the same beginnings.
Right.
But then it's saying, this was a little confusing.
It was because, yes, that is exactly what I had also gotten from the various conversations about where the Ori came from, was that, yes, they did come from the same beginnings at the same time. But yeah, this is millions of years ago and the Ori already exist. And supposedly the ancients have not figured out how to ascend yet at this point. So I thought that was weird.
It was weird.
Worth mentioning. Yeah. They continue to talk about the Ori threat, and we already are all familiar with the Ori threat because we've been watching the show, but basically they're talking about how they need everybody to believe in them. And then people here are talking cryptically about TheArk, which can change everything. But some of the people there are not too convinced that forced indoctrination can really be the answer. How exactly that relates to the Ark, we don't really know just yet, but they're talking about making people see the truth. So not so much making them believe a certain thing, but just making them believe what is true rather than trying to, I don't know, convince them of some bullshit story like the Ori have done.
Yes.
Basically. The group goes back and forth a bit longer, And the conversation ends with one particular guy saying that it will not be used as a weapon against the Ori, and the debate is closed.
Let's not bicker and argue.
Good decision, guys.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And then we get a title credit that says Arc of Truth.
Way to go.
Yeah.
And then we're on Dakara.
Yeah. I thought that was weird.
What they're doing there, we'll find out, but they don't tell us immediately. They're looking for something in the ruins of Dakara. It is not the people in the previous scene, but our friends in SG1. Specifically, Daniel, Vala, and Teal'c are there.
Yeah. So it is no longer millions of years ago or a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, no, we're in present day. Daniel has unearthed some sort of box that looks like it could be an ark of some kind. But is it the Ark of Truth? Daniel says it's covered in ancient writing, and it says something about safety kept in something of old, so he thinks maybe this is what they're looking for, which is not the MacGuffin that never got resolved in the series that I thought maybe this would be based on, but yet another one.
Yeah.
Vala wants him to stop talking about it and just open the damn thing. Daniel says they can't. She asks why, and he starts talking about how it's an ancient device and so powerful, and it makes anyone who looks into it believe the Ori are not gods. So Vala's like, yeah, so open it. And Daniel keeps talking about this, but what the real problem is that it's sealed shut. Which I don't know why he dances around other than they needed to have a little bit bickering back and forth about this. And also give us exposition for the movie, I suppose.
Yeah.
About what they're doing there. Vala asks Teal'c if the Jaffa had not looked for artifacts of the ancients as well. And Teal'c's like, we did find some, but we didn't find this one, clearly. And their leadership kept changing. They didn't have a lot of time or manpower, so that's why they overlooked this giant box in the ground. Teal'c hears something. Vala grabs an axe to try to open it. Daniel tries to stop her. Teal'c tells them to shut up. Then we get Mitchell radioing in to let them know they are under attack. Uh-oh.
That's not good.
No. They haven't even opened their magic box yet.
Not yet. We see several fighters flying over the city and dropping some bombs, so things are going bad. Sam says that they need to fall back. There's a big firefight happening between the team and all of the Ori soldiers. The team is quite outnumbered here. So the Ori are advancing. After a lot of back and forth of firing, the team is finally surrounded. Because again, they're vastly outnumbered by the Ori soldiers here. One of them tells the commander that they have them trapped, and the commander comes up from somewhere else in the crowd, takes off his helmet, and it's Toman.
Toman? Wow.
Who'd have thought? He calls to Vala, because he's not right there in front of them. He's a little ways off. He calls to Vala to say to throw down their weapons and surrender, and he promises that they'll all be spared, but Mitchell says he was going to say the same thing, even though, again, they don't have a chance here.
Yeah.
They're basically, though, just trying to buy time while they figure out how to open this device, and if it can help them in any way. As Mitchell's talking, Daniel is trying to get the thing open, but he is not having any luck with it.
It could grip it by the husk.
Vala suggests maybe they try to get the Ori soldiers to open it up. Yeah. So they tell them to come on in. Vala feels self-conscious. She says she looks like crap and isn't ready to face her, I guess, ex-husband. So when he does come in, they have a bit of an awkward greeting to each other. He's surprised to see her there. And Mitchell says, well, we're surprised to see you here too, basically. When Vala wants to know how they knew that they were here, they've got some prior with them that, of course, comes up with some vague answer of the power of the Ori and blah, blah, blah.
It is the prior that burned Vala alive. And
it is, yes.
Yeah.
Worth mentioning. It is that same prior. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that prior wants to know what this artifact is that they have found. Mitchell has the good point of, shouldn't you already know that? Because you just told us you knew that we were here in the first place because of the Ori. But, of course, no, he doesn't know what's actually in there. Daniel tells them that inside the Ark is the secret to destroying the armies of the Ori. And so they're not going to want to open it, right? No. But the prior doesn't think he should have anything to fear here because all the priors are very full of themselves and arrogant. So they open it, or at least attempt to open it, but the Ori soldiers can't open it either.
In the computer?
So Toman fires on it, and that does open it. And then nothing happens. There's some old crumbly scrolls on the inside. So apparently this is not, in fact, the thing that they were looking for. The prior orders everybody killed. Toman does not like that idea because he promised that they would be spared if they surrendered, which they did. But the prior does not care. The prior is, in fact, very angry and tired of Toman always questioning his commands. So kill them, or he's gonna burn in the fire of everlasting hell if he does not agree to kill them all. Vala tries to reason with Toman, saying that the prior cannot actually hurt him. We've seen the priors hurt many people, though, so
Yes.
that's not really good logic. Daniel also tries to reason with Toman, telling him that the prior realizes that he's actually powerless against being able to make Toman do anything, and the prior continues to get more and more desperate in his repeated orders to kill everybody. So when Toman continues to hesitate, the prior grabs Toman's weapon, and that is enough of a distraction for Mitchell to take advantage, and they're able to basically fight off the Ori soldiers that are currently around them. Then Mitchell shoots the prior, who falls backwards over the not arc thing with a big smoking wound in his chest, and he's dead. Bye, prior.
Yeah.
The soldiers who have not been disarmed yet still look like they are about to fire on SG1, but Toman commands them to stand down and asks how it was possible that they managed to kill the prior. So, of course, that's when they bring out the prior neutralizing device that they had hidden somewhere in their gear, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toman is shocked.
This is quite a shock. On the other hand, it's not surprising in the least.
As is everyone else.
Smoke continues to rise from the dead prior.
Yeah.
I did like the smoking wound.
Yeah. It was a nice touch.
And that prior definitely had it coming.
He sure did, especially after having burned Vala to death.
Yes. Which he did as a human still.
Yep.
So, good riddance.
Yeah.
And then we're in the SGC, and Landry is there talking to Mitchell. They're talking the halls. Mitchell is briefing Landry on what he's learned from Toman, who's now switched sides altogether. Finally, after all that questioning. Way to go, Toman.
Woo.
Doesn't make up for your mass murdering, but
Sure doesn't. But we're going to forget about that, as we so frequently do.
The intel they've gotten is that the Ori are going to be sending more ships through the Supergate soon to attack Earth. Landry still says that's a little non-specific, and I was like, I mean, they don't know what the timing exactly, but it seems pretty specific.
Yeah.
Landry wants to know if they found out anything else useful, since they also didn't find the Ark. And Mitchell says not at the moment. Toman's still trying to deal with the fact that he's spent his life serving false gods. And then Landry sees a guy through a window into his office, waiting there, and Mitchell doesn't know who it is, so Landry invites him in to meet him, and it is some asshole from the IOA named Merrick.
Yeah. Have we not seen him before? He looked very familiar.
I mean, I think this man has been in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So, like, his face is very familiar to me, but I don't think he's been in Stargate, at least not in this role.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was calling him the IO asshole.
Perfect. It is fitting.
Merrick claims to be a huge fan of Colonel Mitchell, but is he really? He just sucks, is all.
Yeah.
Which we will find out, but it's pretty obvious pretty quickly.
Yeah. He's very smarmy.
Yeah. Mitchell asks what happened to Woolsey, and Merrick tells him that Woolsey is busy with Atlantis, so I guess someone, not us, will be seeing Woolsey over on Atlantis more at some point.
I'm a doctor, not a database.
Worth mentioning that this was supposed to have taken place between Season 4, Episode 1 and Season 4, Episode 2, if I remember right, and we were not seeing Woolsey over there yet, so I was like, you're full of crap.
That's true. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just assigned to deal with Atlantis more or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Merrick also claims there's probably not going to be much he has to do here. He's probably just going to stay out of the way. He's definitely not going to cause any trouble.
Surely not.
Yeah. But immediately he's like, actually, I want to interrogate Toman. And Mitchell's like, he's not our prisoner. You can't interrogate him. But actually, Merrick thinks he can do whatever he wants. And he is a prisoner, basically, and an enemy who's murdered lots of people. Landry's like, we've already questioned him. But Merrick insists. He's like, I don't want to step on any toes. Like, really laying it on how terrible he is right off the bat. Like, I'm going to do this thing anyway, even though I'm pretending to be respectful of you. He needs to prepare a report, though, for his superiors. He's like, I'm new in the job. Yuck, yuck, you understand. But there's nothing Landry can do, so he's going to let Merrick proceed. Merrick leaves then. Mitchell asks what this guy's background is, and Landry says he's former CIA Black Ops. So Mitchell's like, great, so we're being spied on? And yeah, basically, that's it. Mitchell's like, I think we're going to miss Woolsey.
Indeed. Woolsey is better than this guy.
Yes.
We're back in whatever special room they are keeping Toman in. Vala and Daniel are there telling Toman that the Ori are gone, as we were told back in the end of the series. Basically just catching him up on the whole thing with Adria getting sent through the gate with a big weapon. But that did not take out the people that worshipped them, and apparently did not take out the priors or take away the prior power, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, a little bit weird.
Yeah. The point being that all of this is pointless, and it could just still end up in a bloody mess for all of the humans if they continue to try to follow these not only false gods, but dead false gods. So hopefully, if they can find the Ark, if Toman wants it in on that game, they can try to convince all of those people that still believe that there is nothing for them to believe in. Toman, as with the people in the opening scene, thinks that it seems wrong to try to force a bunch of people to believe a certain thing. Everyone's like, well, isn't that kind of what y'all have been doing this whole time anyway?
Yeah.
But Daniel also says he's not saying that it's right, but, you know, it's the only solution that they really have at this point.
One must always choose the lesser of two evils.
Otherwise, it's going to be a bunch of bloodshed. So this is the most humane way to go about it. At this point, Daniel says that they think that the Ark can brainwash people into believing whatever it's programmed to make them believe. And Toman asks how they knew where to look, but Vala points out that they didn't, because the thing that they had found was clearly not the Ark. So they still need to do a bit more looking around. Toman says that they have to have some idea. And we see Daniel get a weird, flashy vision of Merlin and a mountain, specifically a mountain exploding. Mm-hmm. And he's apparently had that vision several times, he tells Toman. So he's just got to try to figure out exactly where that mountain is that exploded. Toman says, you've both read the Book of Origin, right? And of course they have. I was actually surprised that Vala had actually read the entire thing, but
yeah.
She did say big book and fine print and not many pictures, but they did both nod when he asked him that, so I guess?
Yeah.
He mentions a part specifically about Ortis Malum, the birthplace of all evil. And that passage talks about a mountain that erupts and buries that place where evil had once sprung forth. So maybe that's where we need to go?
Convenient connections.
Toman is helpful.
He is. And then we're in the distant past again. Definitely not a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Just, I forgot how they even phrased it. And we see one of the guys from the earlier scene pushing buttons on the Ark. And one of the other people come in and ask what he's doing. They've got to go. He says he knows, but he's still insisting they have to know the truth. But she says everything's going to be destroyed, so it doesn't matter. So she ushers him out of there, and then he's like, wait, my notebook. And then we get a little Easter egg of a drawing of a Stargate in the notebook, so we know where the origins of the Stargate come from.
I actually missed that somehow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he says he had the most amazing idea last night. And then we are outside the mountain, where the mountain, I was confused. It looked to me like the ship just destroyed the mountain by popping out of it. Or did the mountain crumble nearby? Like,
I think it actually did come up out of the, I mean, that is what this transcript says too. So yeah, it came up out of the ground, basically.
So was the mountain going to be destroyed if they hadn't done that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing maybe not. I'm thinking that maybe the Altairans here were going to leave regardless of whether those two caught up with them or not. So they needed to get to the ship before this happened, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. It was a little ambiguous.
You know, millions of years ago. So, you know, the memory's fuzzy.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because this is a documentary.
Yeah, it's definitely a documentary. But these reenactment scenes of the past are sometimes a little bit tough to try to figure out how exactly to reenact them. But then we're in the present day, so this isn't a reenactment. This is actual live footage.
Yeah, yep.
And we are with Sam, who is showing a picture of the Supergate. And I was obsessing over her hair because her hair is long and in a ponytail. And I didn't think that people that were in the military were allowed to wear their hair in ponytails like this or in braids like she had it later. So I did actually look it up here. And according to at least a general search of the internet, it wasn't until February 10th of 2021 that female airmen were allowed to wear long braids or ponytails. So this is canonically not correct hairstyle for somebody who was in the Air Force at the time that this was filmed in 2000. Well, it was released in 2008, so presumably filmed in 2007.
Yeah. Maybe she got special dispensation for becoming the new head of Atlantis. Spoiler for things we're not talking about. But
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Jeff was watching this with me, and he said that maybe it was because she's a major now.
Because she's a what?
Because she's a general now.
Oh, maybe. But they just don't talk about it.
Yeah. So Sam is telling everybody that what she thinks that they should do is try to beam some nuclear devices through to some other gate that the Ori would need to use to get there. And the hope would be that when their gate opened, it would detonate the nuclear device, I guess, if they put it in the way of the Foosh. I guess.
I
think it would just be vaporized, but the theory is that when the gate would open, the devices would explode and then ruin the gate, and then that would keep the Ori from being able to get there. But Daniel says they can't blow it up just yet, because he was not in the room, but comes in now. They still need the Supergate. The ancients didn't bring the Ark with them. It is still in the Ori Galaxy.
Of course. I guess then they're not tempted to use it when they flee to this galaxy. By not taking it with them.
I guess.
And presumably thinking it's destroyed.
Yeah. Then we're in the interrogation room with Merrick and Toman. Merrick asks if Toman was a commander in the Ori army, and of course Toman confirms that he was, and elaborates on the kinds of duties that he had as a commander. Merrick asks how many innocent human beings he'd say he slaughtered, which I think is a fair question, but we're supposed to think that Merrick is an asshole for asking that. And Merrick is an asshole, but that's not why.
Yes.
So when Toman doesn't really answer and Merrick presses him asking hundreds or thousands or more, Toman just doesn't know what Merrick is trying to get at here. But Merrick just wants answers to his questions, that's all. He's just asking questions. But Toman says he's already told the others, presumably meaning SG1, what he knows about everything worth telling anybody about. So Merrick goes back to his question of how many innocent human beings have you slaughtered? Mitchell and Teal'c are watching from the observation room. Vala is not there because Teal'c says that she could not bear to watch. She doesn't like seeing Toman being questioned like this. And there is apparently a plan for what to do next. The two of them discuss that Toman wants to come with them as they go to Ortus Malum to try to look for the Ark there. And they could use all the help that they can get, so they're going to let that happen. And they're just going to have to hope that the Ori are actually all dead, otherwise it's probably not going to go so great.
True.
Yeah.
Then we're in Landry's office with Mitchell, Daniel, and Landry. Landry tells Mitchell he was giving Dr. Jackson the good news, and that's that the mission was approved. And Mitchell's like, I thought it already was.
Yes.
Merrick is there too. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. He's like, yeah, you needed the IOA approval to go, so now you have it. Aren't you happy? For some reason, Mitchell gets to command the Odyssey.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was weird for the mission.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they had a new permanent commander after the last one died.
It was Ellis, wasn't it? Oh, wait, no, he was the Orion. Never mind.
Or the Apollo?
Apollo. Yeah, that's
They have
right.
3 ships now, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
There was a different ship that he was in charge of. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but Mitchell gets to be in charge. But also, good news, Merrick's coming to oversee things.
Great.
Merrick says he's real excited about that. First time on the battlecruiser. It's going to be great. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
What could go wrong?
Nothing's going to go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong with Merrick joining them?
Mitchell asks if he can confine him to quarters, and Mitchell, I think that you should have.
Yep.
But that's for later.
Yep.
And then we're on the Odyssey. Marks is there. Hi, Marks. Glad to see some continuity on the ship. Mitchell comes in, takes the chair, leans forward. Not quite as much as Landry, but he's leaning forward a bit. It's very important. I'm obsessed with this chair.
Jeff and I were also talking about that. He's kind of pulling a Captain Kirk here. And I was like, well, Kathy does frequently comment about how it's really kind of a lounge chair. So you can't blame him for leaning forward if he knows that some action's about to go down.
It's true.
Armed photons, prepare to fire on the Klingon warbirds. Yes, sir.
Mitchell makes a joke about setting weapons to maximum.
I just realized that it actually even says in the transcript that he's adopting a pose like Captain Kirk of Star Trek.
Amazing.
That is very funny because I had not read that when we were watching.
It's really funny.
Only just now noticed.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
So the Odyssey leaves and heads into hyperspace, starting their long journey.
Indeed. Then we're in the mess hall. Toman is sitting there, eating some stuff. Merrick's also in there, but more in the background, just staring creepily at Toman from behind. They're both in SGC clothing, which is only notable because Toman is back in his regular clothing later, and that was weird that they kept moving him back and forth between SGC gear and his regular clothes, but whatever.
Maybe this is what he was wearing while they were doing laundry for him.
Yeah, it could be. Yes, it's laundry day. Tilk comes in and glares at Merrick before then sitting down with Toman. And Tilk knows better than anyone what Toman feels like right now. He says that there is nothing that he hasn't done since turning against the Gua'uld that is going to make up for all of the terrible things that he did in their name while he was First Prime. And he tells Toman that somewhere deep inside him, he knows that Toman knew what he was doing was wrong, and that there was a voice screaming for him to stop, but because he didn't see any way out, he had to keep doing what he was doing. And Tilk goes on to say that you could not change what was going on around you, so you tried your best to convince yourself that the people that you were hurting deserved it, and that you were just numbing their pain and suffering. And kept your mouth shut. Because that is presumably exactly what Tilk had to do. Toman, though, says that there's always a choice, and Tilk agrees that there is, and Toman decided to ignore that choice, but Tilk reminds him that he is sitting here now. But Toman can't imagine a day where he's going to forgive himself for all the terrible things that he did, and Tilk says that that day is not ever going to actually come. And even though other people around them might forgive them for what they've done, they're still not ever going to be able to forgive themselves, and they just need to try their best to live with what they've done. Just need to accept it. They've hurt others, a lot of others, and it can't be undone, but the best they can do is do better moving forward, basically. Fight for the people that they have killed rather than to fight for themselves. It was a good scene.
Very good scene. I just want to note 2 things. Mm-hmm. Just for, the things I do.
Yeah.
Tilk had some Jell-O and a sandwich.
Excellent. I had not noticed.
Not very exciting, but yeah.
What color Jell-O?
It was red, I believe. I should have double checked, but I believe it was red. It was like a Jell-O in a plastic cup, not like the ice
normal
cream dish
goblet
looking.
thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I thought that was much better when they did that.
Fancy Jell-O.
Yeah. And In one of the scenes, you do clearly see Christopher Judge's earring hole in his ear.
Oh, really? I definitely didn't notice that.
I don't think Teal'c's ever worn earrings in this,
No.
but Christopher Judge, he's worn an earring in his life.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very exciting, I know.
Indeed.
Indeed.
The Odyssey gets to the Supergate. Woo-woo! And they dial. And we get to watch the Supergate activate. It does so successfully and easily. Stable connection, Sam reports. She says she was pretty sure this was going to work.
Great.
Which, yeah. I guess prior Daniel, it sounds like, taught them how to dial the Supergate. Which I thought they knew how to anyway. I don't know. It wasn't clear. It was another thing that wasn't clear.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Then Mitchell says, take her in. And then we get an overly long shot of the Supergate and the ship going slowly into the Supergate.
Yep.
It was unending, just like the last episode of the series.
It was at least a little bit reminiscent of when they circle around Star Trek.
Yes.
When they circle around Star Trek. When they circle around the Enterprise in Star Trek, the movie.
Yeah.
For like a half an hour.
It's another, like, you know, they're doing a cinematic thing. They want you to, like, take it in and marvel at it. But, yeah, it was long.
It was quite lengthy.
Circle around and pretend we're in awe of the pylons.
And then also them going through the wormhole was extra long as well, which, again, they're going to a different galaxy, so it is a little bit longer. But we don't often get wormhole shots anymore anyway, so.
True. And I thought that it was pretty cool when they, like, showed everybody's faces as they dematerialized and were sucked into the gate.
Yes.
That was a cool effect. I liked that.
Yeah, I agree. And then we're in the Ori Galaxy, already on a planet and inside a tavern. Yay!
Yay!
Daniel and Vala are sitting at a table, and across the room, Daniel is having a vision of Merlin sitting at a table, but it turns out it's just some other old dude. Vala asks Daniel if he's okay, and he says he's fine, and he says he has the feeling they're on the right track. Although he does not tell Vala he saw Merlin.
Yeah.
Toman comes over with another guy, Hertis, who I was like, I so know this guy, and it took me so long to figure out who he was.
It was Vincent from Eureka.
I know. Also,
he's also been on this show a couple times.
Yeah. I also looked it up after he died.
Oh, no.
The actor died in 2024.
Yikes. That's sad.
I didn't
he
know
wasn't
that
old.
No, he was like 3 years older than I am.
Yeah.
So,
That's terrible.
Yeah. So, sad news.
That is sad.
Toman introduces Vala to Hertis as his wife, which Vala is like,
What?
Maybe we talk about that later, sweetie. Hertis mentions a rumor about the fires of Celestis going out, which seems to maybe confirm the Oris are... The Oris. Yes, I've just pluralized that word. The Ori are gone, maybe?
How did Toman know Hertis? How did he find Hertis?
Someone mentioned talking about Toman that he might know something about the anti-Ori underground. So I'm guessing Toman has been either they keep tabs on the people who are against the Ori, which in that case I feel like generally the Ori would have just killed them all.
Yeah.
Or his doubts have taken him so far that he was actually talking to people in this movement. I don't know. It's not explained.
It is not.
They have not heard of this rumor, and they're like, we're really, really far away. Don't worry about it. Toman says the priors see this as a sign the Ori are not pleased, but it sounds like they're just dead.
Yeah.
They mention again that the Ori have been massively building up their ship complement, and they're ready to go. And then Hertis is like, I hear you want to get to Ortis Malum. And they're like, yeah, that's why we're here. And Hertis is like, what makes you think this place exists for real? And Daniel's like, don't you believe something from the Book of Origin might be based on historical events? And Hertis is like, that's not the issue. I want you to prove that this thing might exist. And they're like, okay, cool. So they beam him up to the Odyssey to prove that space exists? That ships exist? I don't really know.
I don't know, yeah.
Either way, that's enough for Hertis. Maybe they showed him other things. He tells them there's ruins of a village in the mountains by the plains of Celestis, and maybe that is where the birthplace of evil is.
Oh, how convenient!
Daniel says that makes sense. They built their holy city where they believe their gods once beat the Alterans. And Tobin says that's not here, though. Celestis is not here, so... Sam's like, well, maybe I get you a map and you show us where it is. And Tobin's like, yeah, I can do that. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to this place. Daniel reiterates that if the fires are out, seems like Merlin's device worked, the Ori are dead. However, the priors still exist. And they're like, that's not enough to stop us. We need to go find this thing. Hergis says many people have searched the ruins already and they've never found anything. And Daniel's like, cool, that means it's still there. No problem. Let's do this. Yeah.
Woo. Next, we are on the ship. Mitchell and Sam come out of an elevator to run right into Merrick. And he's not too thrilled that he wasn't notified that they have someone on board with new intel about the Ori army. Mitchell's like, oh, yeah, I called it in and there was no answer. Wait, no, I didn't hit the button. Oops, sorry. So, of course, Merrick gives him a lecturing, too, of proper protocol and blah, blah, blah. And you were granted the use of this ship, which is the most valuable asset Earth currently has. So, you need to let me know and keep me updated on things. Merrick then asks for confirmation if they do or do not have reliable intelligence that more Ori ships are about to leave, which is what they did learn down on the planet. Mitchell just gives an annoyed look to Sam, and they head out onto the bridge instead of actually answering his question, but Merrick follows him. Mitchell tells Marks, who is there. We haven't seen Marks in a while, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. He tells Marks that they've got new coordinates that have been entered, so let's go there. Merrick is continuing to have a temper tantrum about how he needs to be kept in the loop about what's going on, and they don't know how much time they have, and blah, blah, blah. He's not going to sacrifice this mission or Earth because of some fool's quest, so I guess he's not really on board with going to get the Ark, even though that was supposedly what they were here for in the first place. So I thought that this whole thing was kind of weird.
Yeah, because he's an IO a-hole.
Indeed. For whatever reason, Mitchell offers Sam the chair, and she declines, which I thought was weird because Mitchell was put in charge. We have seen Sam in the chair before, so I didn't really understand that. But no, Sam says it's all his.
She's happy to do
but
the
she's got his back.
This. Yeah.
I think it's basically just that he doesn't want to deal with Merrick, and whoever is in the chair is going to have to deal with Merrick. I think it's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's really short-sighted to be like, yes, we need to deal with these ship things when they are there to get a thing that could end all their troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Odyssey is at Celestis. Woohoo!
Woo.
And then SG1 and Toman are on the planet, which again leaves the Odyssey with no commander. Why?
A valid question.
Yeah. They don't know where to start, so they're going to go figure out how to start their search. While up on the Odyssey, where they could have really used someone either to lock Merrick in a room or be in charge of anything, Merrick sneaks around into the Asgard core room of the Odyssey, where he pulls out a crystal and replaces it with one in his pocket. This one doesn't look like the other crystal.
It doesn't.
It has some sort of microchip in it.
It does.
So he's up to something. Oh, that Merrick.
He sure is.
Back on the planet, the team is still looking around. Vala asks Toman how he's doing, and Toman is, still coming to terms. Marks radios down to Mitchell to let him know that someone has turned on the Asgard core. Someone.
Who could that have been?
Yeah. And Marks is actually like, do you really need to ask? So great. Marks continues that the room is sealed and he's not responding. Somebody in charge should probably get up there and deal with that. So Sam and Mitchell head back up to the Odyssey to deal with that while the rest of the team and Toman stay down below. And then none of them are together for the rest of this freaking episode, or this freaking movie. I was sad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Then we are back on Earth in the control room with Poulter, who is got like one line in this entire movie that he delivers right now when he tells Landry that it's SG3 transmitting from whatever planet this is that they are at. So Landry talks to Reynolds over on SG3, and he says that a prior arrived through the gate 15 minutes ago and immediately made contact. He did not know how the prior knew that they were there, but that's not great. Supposedly the prior doesn't plan to harm them, but does have a message to deliver to Earth, and he'll only deliver it in person, so he wants to come through the gate. Landry's not so convinced about that. But ultimately, that is what is going to happen, because this guy is adamant that he has really important information, but is only going to deliver it if he can come through the gate, and it has to do with the survival of humans on Earth. So the prior does know that Earth has technology to neutralize his powers, and he's still willing to come through anyway. So they've got an hour, Landry says, to give time for the necessary preparations before they bring this guy through. Back on the Odyssey, Merrick is still in the room with all the Asgard technology, and Mitchell and Sam and a bunch of guards want to come in. Merrick has it locked, but of course Mitchell warns Merrick that they can bypass security if they need to, so you'd probably better just let us in. Merrick does not answer. He just keeps standing there, looking impatiently at his watch. So Sam bypasses the security system and lets them in. When they realize that the Asgard core technology is online, that's not great because the Ori ships can track that stuff. Sam tries to shut it down, but it won't shut down. It's creating something. That doesn't seem great. They want to know what it is, but Merrick is evasive in his answer and says, "You'll see, it's almost done." And then, turns out that it is a replicator.
God damn it.
Yeah. So not only do they probably have the Ori on their way, which is actually probably part of Merrick's plan too, because he plans to use replicators to stop the Ori. And this was his secret mission, his real reason for being on the ship and joining them here. Because the SGC just failed to consider all options, and this is an option that they didn't consider. Of course, everybody is horrified.
Yeah.
While Merrick is just standing there smugly, looking happy at his replicator.
Asshole.
Indeed.
Down on the planet, Tobin is digging. Vala always stands around while other people dig. She never does any digging herself. She says this is hopeless. She's not getting any energy readings from what she's looking at, and without looking under literally every rock and stone, they're not going to find it. But Daniel sees something. Something catches his attention. It's Merlin. He has another Merlin vision.
Good Merlin pain.
So he heads in the direction of Merlin, where there's a giant slab of stone or concrete on this forest floor, which is going to be the entrance they were looking for to find this device. Woohoo! So they get the stone out of the way, and Daniel's like, I think we're supposed to go down there. Then we're back up on the Odyssey in the Asgard core. Sam radios that they need anti-replicator gun in the Asgard core now. And Merrick is like, don't worry, it's got a force shield, it's fine. Sam tries to tell him how freaking dangerous these things are. Merrick does not care. He's like, yeah, that's why it's going to be great at destroying the Ori fleet. Fools. Mitchell calls him totally nuts. And he says it's not my plan, it's the IOA's, which they're all stupid.
Yeah.
So this was their backup plan, he says. If they couldn't destroy the Supergate, they would let loose replicators on this galaxy. And since you people weren't willing to destroy the Stargate, it's what I had to do. That's why I'm here. I never cared at all about the Ark. No one expected them to find the Ark. And Mitchell is so mad. Sam asks who wrote the program, and Merrick's like, doesn't matter.
Do we ever find that out? I don't think we do.
I don't think we do. Someone comes in with the ARG. Sam says they're going to need to lower the shield in order to shoot the replicator. So she tells Mitchell as soon as she does that, don't hesitate, don't miss. Mitchell says he won't. So she takes down the shield. Mitchell shoots it, but there is no effect. And the replicator just away.
There's a very good emulation of the sound effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The guy who brought in the ARG, one of them tries to zat it, but as we know, Sam says zats have no effect.
Nope.
So they got to get some more P90s, some more physical guns, old school replicator killing. Mitchell's mad. He grabs Merrick and is like, why didn't that work? And Merrick's like, we programmed that out of this version. And by we, he's like the mystery programmer.
Mystery programmer. I bet it was Dennis Nedry.
Probably.
God damn it! Hate this hacking crap.
He's responsible for a lot.
Yeah.
Mitchell wants to know why Merrick didn't tell him the ARG wasn't working. Merrick's like, you were going to not let me do this stupid plan, so I had to let the stupid plan happen. What do you want from me? He actually is hoping that the replicator will cannibalize the ship and build more replicators, and that is the way they will make their way to the Ori fleet.
Won't that destroy the ship, though? Is he not worried about the fact that they're all going to die if the replicators cannibalize this ship?
It sounds to me like he is fine with all of them dying if he gets to have the replicators destroy the Ori fleet.
Yeah, even though all have to go down with the ship, so to speak, in order for that to happen.
Yeah. And Mitchell's like, what are they going to do when the replicators get tired here and go back through the supergate to our galaxy again? And Merrick's like, we've put precautions in place to present that scenario. Some kind of shutdown command or self-destruct, Sam realizes. And then Merrick's like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. Don't look at me. I only created the thing.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah. Fuck you, Merrick. Fuck the replicators. So mad.
Good times, good times. Next, we're somewhere else in the ship. A guy that we've never seen before, but is credited as Captain Binder.
I don't even know who you are.
Whoever the hell that is comes up and gives Mitchell a weapon. They've got a bunch of armed teams searching the ship top to bottom, looking for that replicator, ideally before it replicates too much, and then they have many replicators to fight. They're small, though, so these things can use ventilation shafts, and they can move through walls and all kinds of stuff, since they can poke holes in walls, so it's only going to be a matter of time before they've got a lot of them, Mitchell says. So they better get searching. Sam is still in the core room trying to figure out how to find the self-destruct code and turn that on. She tells Mitchell, who has radioed to her to check in, that whoever it was that did this programming code didn't seem to know a lot about actual replicator technology. So they let the core fill in the blanks for them. So what could go wrong with that? But basically, Sam says is what that means is that it only exists in the core database. So they have to keep the core database on, which means that they are continuing to send out a signal to the Ori to let them know that it's there. And if they're ever going to have any hope of finding that self-destruct code, which Sam says is kind of an if as to whether or not it actually exists, despite what Merrick said. She suggests that they jump into hyperspace because even though the Ori ships will be able to follow them there, they won't be able to attack them necessarily until they drop out of hyperspace. So it'll at least buy them a little bit of time, and hopefully by then they'll be able to find the replicator.
Yeah. Mitchell radios down to the team on the planet who have barely begun their search of this tunnel they've found, and tells them they've got to beam back up because of the replicator situation that he gives them a brief overview of. And Daniel's like, replicator? And yes.
Teal'c rolled his eyes very hard when he heard that there were replicators now thrown into the mix. It was funny.
Yeah. Mitchell tells Marks to transport the team up and to take off as soon as they're on board. However, the system is not responding. He cannot transport them. Shocking.
What?
And then he throws his hands up and is like, I've lost control of the ship's computer. Sucks.
I don't know why I thought this was so funny, but he said that the controls had stopped responding, and we just see like a bunch of different images that basically look like text documents flashing on the screen. I was like, what the hell is even happening? That's not a matter of losing control of the ships. That's a matter of the computers completely freaking out and just showing you a bunch of random stuff.
All the more reason to throw your hands in the air.
Yeah, I don't know. It just struck me as very strange to show what they were showing on the screen as their way of indicating that the controls weren't responding.
Back in the core room, they are realizing that this replicator has already gotten, seems like, total control of the ship.
Yeah.
It's not great. It didn't need to work very hard to do it. Everything about the Odyssey was pre-programmed into the replicator's memory? How does she know that?
I don't know. I guess it was in something she was reading as she was doing her research.
Yeah.
But that also seemed like a weird choice for whoever was programming it. But again, they did assume this replicator was going to destroy the Odyssey, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't know. That just seems weird.
She says she's going to attempt to isolate life support navigation and hyperdrive command and restrict that to the Asgard core, and maybe then they can maintain some control. And Mitchell says he's going to go help find the thing and heads out of there.
Toman asks, what's a replicator? Tilk tells him, you do not wish to know. Mitchell radios down to let them know that they're going to have a little bit more time down there because they're having some issues with beaming, and he'll try to get them up as soon as possible. But for now, have fun, hang out, and we'll talk to you soon, basically. So they're going to keep searching because they've got nothing else to do, but then they reach a dead end. Not so much a wall as that the tunnel in front of them is blocked. So what are they going to do? They're going to blow it up with C4. Daniel is horrified when Teal'c actually pulls out the C4 to do this, but then he asks Daniel, well, do you want to turn back? And Daniel says, bombs away. It was an amusing scene to me.
Yeah.
Back up on the Odyssey, Mark says that they've lost their external communications array.
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
And they're having all different issues with the power fluctuations in their power grid, so all that seems bad. A corridor door closes on its own. That seems bad, too, because I guess that probably means that Mitchell is now locked wherever he is.
Maybe.
In this area. Back underground, we get a nice explosion of C4. And then the team is able to move forward.
Woohoo!
Conveniently, the thing is right there. Under some rocks.
Yep.
Vala asks if Daniel is sure that that's it this time, and somehow he is definitely sure. I think that there was a little bit of Merlin hinting at it, too, to help, is my guess. But
it's gotta be.
But yeah, they found it.
Yay! Daniel turns it on, and movie over. All good. Somehow it also takes out the replicators with its truth vision.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, movie over. All done.
Yep. That was a weird and abrupt way to end it.
Yeah.
Hour and 20-ish minutes of recording time so far. That was not as long as I expected this movie to take.
Yeah. I suppose I'll go on. We're back at the SGC, where Landry is receiving a visitor. A prior's there. The prior that wanted to come see him. The prior tells him he's demonstrating great courage facing him in person, and Landry's like, courage is only required when you're facing something you fear, so take that, nerd.
Jeff pointed out that this guy had a lot of Terry O'Quinn energy going on, and I couldn't unsee it once he said that. And I also noticed that for whatever reason, Landry was wearing a leather jacket that perfectly matched the prior's robes.
Yes, I was noticing that when they have their scene together.
Yeah, it was really weird. They're both wearing maroon leather.
Yeah, and the lighting in that scene is also weird, but we haven't gotten there yet.
It's true.
Landry tells the prior he can skip fire and brimstone, and we already know that you've got ships coming to Earth. The prior says it's not too late. I can still deliver the message of origin to your world, and we'll spare you. And Landry's like, even if I let you, I don't think people are going to listen. Which is a very valid point.
This is. Although, I don't know, people can be brainwashed to follow really stupid people very readily, apparently.
That is true. I just think that a lot of, let's say...
there would still be a lot of resistance.
Yes. Particularly, I think, unless you, I don't know, threw Jesus in there somewhere, a lot of Christians might have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then again, a lot of them deify Donald Trump, so whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. But also the Ori origin seems really similar to Christianity too.
True.
So you could probably just be like, oh no, we just have a slightly different version of the Bible because we're from a different galaxy, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway.
Prior tells them they're not going to accept. They're all doomed. Same thing they always say. Landry's like, maybe we are, but you're not going to doom us. Ha.
Ha. Take that.
Why haven't you attacked us yet? We have so many people. What have you been waiting for?
Can we call him Terry No Quinn?
Terry No Quinn. Yes. The jacket thing was weird too. Sorry, right? I'm thinking about the jacket again because
it was weird.
Also, him wearing that jacket, I was like, are you just stopping in on your way home? Like,
yeah.
Is this just a casual visit and you're not going to stay long?
It's just very strange.
Yeah. I'm back on
I spent way too much time thinking about his jacket while I was watching this scene.
Yeah, and I didn't know where it looked like sunlight was beaming down in some areas. And I was like, where are they? Aren't they underground?
Yeah.
Many stories?
Yeah, it was weird. It was just a weird scene.
Landry continues taunting the Prior about how they haven't attacked Earth and what are you going to do? You're never speechless. I think that you guys are desperate and you're not sure it's a slam dunk. Prior continues to try to threaten Earth and Landry's like, newsflash, the Ori are dead. We did it. Ha!
Mission accomplished.
Yep. And your gods, all gone, and your whole life is meaningless. The Prior tells Landry he's not courageous, he's without reason, so I'm going to burn your whole planet in the depths of darkness. And Landry's like, yeah, sure. Maybe. But you're coming with us if we're going to hell, so let's have fun together.
Woo.
And then he says, you go ahead and burst into flames as you like. Mic drop Landry out. I enjoyed that.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. I agree. He's got to go out, get to dinner or whatever it is that he's got his coat on for.
Yeah. Maybe he's going to meet his ex-wife and his daughter again.
Could be. Yeah, could be. We're back with Mitchell next. He is talking to Marks over the radio as Marks is trying to help him figure out where he needs to go, looking for the queen thingy that is now making all of the new replicators. And then Mitchell hears little replicator noises, and they've found him. He shoots the one, and then there's a lot more than one. There's a bunch of them heading towards him, so he fires at all of them and runs away.
Bravely ran away.
He does manage to get through a bulkhead, and some of them try to hold it open or kind of put their bodies through. They're trying to climb on the door as it's closing, basically, but he shoots them, and they disintegrate as the door closes. That is more of them than they were looking for. I guess they weren't looking for a queen yet. They didn't think there were going to be that many. But there's a lot now.
Prolific little bastards.
Indeed.
Also, I like that Mitchell cursed in this scene. I was like, oh yeah, it is a movie.
Yep.
Sam
is not pleased to learn that there is more than one. She asks how many. Mitchell tells her a lot. So that first one has, in fact, been converted to a queen by now. It hadn't been before, but now it sure is. So now they don't need to just find one small replicator. They need to find the queen, which will hopefully keep it from making more. But then won't one of the other ones just become a queen?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Good question.
But Sam says that the good news is that the thing is likely stationary while other replicators are bringing it raw materials. So whatever they're looking for is probably not wandering around the ship. But Mitchell has stopped responding to Sam, and she is now very concerned.
Indeed. It's good to be queen. Just bring you blocks.
Indeed.
Yeah. Replicate in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down on the planet in the tunnel, Daniel is blowing dust off the box, which is so fun. I love having dust blown around while I'm standing near it.
Yeah. I like that even though he's not really working as an archaeologist anymore, he still keeps a little archaeology brush just in his flak jacket that he starts using to brush the thing off with.
Vala wants him to stop fussing and just open it. So she heads towards it. Daniel tells her to wait, but he can't. She opens it. But there's nothing inside except for some sort of attached device. So it's part of the device itself. Tobin asks what was supposed to happen, and Daniel says, I don't think it's on. Vala thinks maybe it's broken. Teal suggests power source is depleted because it is millions of years old, Vala says. But Daniel's like, no, I think it's just off. Shut up, you guys, you're dumb.
It's really convenient that their technology is so resilient that it lasts millions of years.
Right? Daniel closes the thing and says he thinks turning it on has something to do with the symbols on top, which it has what look like buttons with symbols and then a red orb on the top of it. He pushes a button, but there's nothing. Then the cave shudders a bit, so Teal'c thinks maybe they should take it up to the surface and do their examining up there before the cave collapses on them after they put a bunch of C4 in there.
Probably a good idea.
So they take the Ark and head out.
Back up on the Odyssey, Sam continues to be worried that Mitchell's not responding, but he finally does after a group of replicators passes by where he's basically hiding in a closet because he's out of ammo. Then we see 4 Ori warships outside coming up on Odyssey, so that's not great. Mark's radios to everybody to let them know what's going on. And Sam tells him to jump into hyperspace. And we see some Ori mothership fire, exactly like we saw in the last episode of the series, being fired upon the Odyssey, but they do manage to escape it.
Boop, boop.
And then we're back down in the forest on Ortis Malum, and somehow between the cave and getting back to the surface, the Ark has become completely clean.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It was so very dirty and dusty, but now, even though it was really heavy, I guess they were brushing it off while they walked.
I think that's what archaeologists do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very weird. So they put the thing down, and Teal'c radios up to the Odyssey, who doesn't answer, of course, because they had to go into hyperspace. And then Teal'c gets shot from out of nowhere and falls over. So that seems bad.
Indeed.
It's not looking good for Teal'c. Eyes closed. We don't know if he's alive or not at this point. And then there's a whole bunch of Ori soldiers. Tomin, Vala, and Daniel all run and take cover. Getting ready for a firefight. Tomin picks up a rock because they haven't given him a gun. And he's trying to just basically like cower lower down into the ground with his one rock as protection. And they're just all looking at each other concerned from their hidey places and out at Teal'c, who is unconscious in the middle of the clearing. And then the firefight begins.
Yay. Up on the Odyssey, we have a conference of sorts with Mitchell, Sam, Marks, and welcome Binder to this team. Mitchell asks Sam, she hasn't found the magic cutoff switch, and she says no. She does say that the replicators are going to come after the core sooner or later. She doesn't know why they haven't yet, but eventually it's going to happen. So what they need to do is seal this room the hell off real hard and protect it at all costs. It sounds like the replicators have been using the random door closings to their advantage, trapping people in different areas of the ship, so they don't have that many people at the moment. Most of the elevators and bulkheads have been locked down, Mark says. Sam says that she thinks the Queen probably set up shop somewhere near a main power conduit. Mitchell orders Binder to position his men there and protect the room at all costs. And Sam offers that they should weld the door shut as well. Binder's like, you won't be able to get out. And Sam's like, it really doesn't matter. If the replicators get in, it's all over. So that's what they're going to do while Mitchell goes to find the Queen. And then he gives us a grandma-ism. You want honey, follow the bees.
Marx thinks that's a good way to get stung.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
No. So they all have their jobs. Sam and Marks are going to be working together inside the core room. Binder and his team outside. Mitchell running around by himself looking for the Queen. Because why would you
wrong with that?
Why would you need just one guy looking for the Queen? It's probably going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Everything's fine. Then we're with Merrick down at the brig. He doesn't look so thrilled to be hanging out down there. But then we hear some replicator noises. That's ominous. And then we see the shadow of a replicator crossing over a light that's in the ceiling from inside the light, which is weird, but also ominous. And then there's acid eating a hole in the wall, and a bunch of replicators come through it.
There's the juice.
Merrick is panicking at this point and banging on the door, asking to be let out, asking for help. And then we're no longer in the brig with Merrick. We are outside looking at the door of the brig while we hear lots of replicator noises and lots of screaming.
Why are you yelling for help, Merrick? Isn't this what you wanted?
It's exactly what you wanted.
God.
You got what you vote for, Merrick.
Yeah.
To me, it was reminiscent of Jurassic Park with the whole Nedry getting eaten in the car scene that we're watching from the outside of the car.
Yes.
Back down in the forest, it's dark. Teal'c's not dead. He wakes up. But there's nobody else there. There are a bunch of dead Ori soldiers, so I guess the team held their own for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's no signs of them as Teal'c is calling everybody's names and gets on the radio, calls into the radio. Nobody answers on the radio either. Of course, when he tries to call the Odyssey, nobody responds. So it is just an injured Teal'c in the middle of the woods, all on his own. It's not looking good. He has got a giant wound in his back and grimaces in pain when he tries to get up and can't get up. But he does manage to crawl over to one of the Ori soldiers who's got a staff weapon, or had a staff weapon. He is dead now, so now it is Teal'c's staff weapon, and he is going to use it to help support himself as he grimaces in pain and climbs his way up off of the ground.
I think I'll go for a walk.
I don't know why I didn't notice this ever before, but when the staff was laying on the ground, while Teal'c was also laying on the ground, I was like, that does look like a giant sewing needle.
It does, yeah.
Just missing the top of the eye, but...
Yeah, you were right.
Like, oh, why did I not notice this before? I don't know. Then we see some Ori ships flying towards the city of the gods. And then we're there in Celestis. People are unconscious. Not just random people, our team. And being imprisoned. Daniel is thrown into a cell, and then the Doci appears. Do we remember the Doci?
We do. I do.
The guy with
the guy with the extra fancy...
His extra fancy
thing around his head.
Thing. Yeah.
And
he's
the
there.
White, spiky hair.
Haven't seen him since the beginning of the Ori situation.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
No. Daniel is trying to get up. He is in pain as well and says, oh God. And the Doci is like, your gods can't save you now, Daniel Jackson. And Daniel's like, that's just a phrase, idiot. Then we get a Teal'c montage of Teal'c hiking through the mountains. Poor Teal'c having to do this on foot.
Right? It sucks.
Yeah.
It was a Lord of the Rings level walking montage.
Yeah.
Not taking the hobbits to Isengard. God.
Until he eventually gets to a mudflat looking place. Yeah. And he can see the city that he needs to get to, but he's got nothing left.
Nope.
And he just collapses.
Yep.
Poor
Face
Teal'c.
down in the mud. I was a little worried that he was going to drown in it.
I know, right? Jeez.
Yeah. Then we're back in the dungeon. This time we're with Tomin and some random friar. And apparently being chanted at is agonizing to Tomin. And then we're with Vala, and it's also agonizing to Vala. And then we're with Daniel, and it's also agonizing to Daniel. So exactly why having people shine a light on you and chant at you is agonizing, I don't really know. But apparently it is some form of torture. And they're all screaming in pain.
Yeah, I assume there's some sort of extra prior power behind this.
I was assuming as well, but it just did seem very weird to me that they don't explain. It's just chanting.
True.
And everyone is screaming. It just seemed weird. Then we're back up on the Odyssey again, and we get another montage of Guy welding the door shut and people getting guns and lots of cases of ammo. I actually kind of appreciated how many cases of ammo they were showing us opening.
Yeah.
And door welding continues, so they're basically trying to shuttle the replicators into a particular area so they can shoot them all, I'm guessing, with all of the welding. And then Binder says, they're coming. And they all huddle down and get ready, weapons drawn.
Then we're with Mitchell, who is tracking the replicators. And he sees a group of them along. I should probably use words instead of just keep going.
No, I like that. It really makes me feel like I'm reliving it.
Good. Because I know how much you love the replicator stories.
I do kind of like the replicator sound effects, though. They're more satisfying than some of the other noises we've had on this series, especially when they fall apart.
That's true.
Yeah.
I can't make that noise, but...
Yeah.
So Mitchell follows them, and he ends up in a cargo hold. He can glimpse through. There's a door in there that's ajar, but not all the way opened, where you can see a giant replicator inside. So he radios to Sam to let her know he's found it. Sam tells her, great, now get out of there. And Mitchell's like, don't you want me to kill it? And she says, not yet. Because destroying the queen will draw other replicators toward him. So that doesn't sound like a good plan without a shutdown code, because it'll just kill Mitchell. Also, she says, since they're not coming for the core quite yet, they could use the explosion of the queen as a distraction maybe when they do start to. So Mitchell says, all right, I'll just prepare by putting some C4 here, getting it ready, so all he has to do is push the detonator. But then we see a figure in the shadows as he's trying to leave. It's Merrick, but he seems weird.
He does seem weird. I mean, he's always seemed weird, but extra weird.
Yeah, Merrick, but weird.
So I had a question about why they were even bothering to look for the queen. If the point wasn't to destroy it, why bother finding it? If you're just going to wait until you have the shutdown code, then you wouldn't even need to know where the queen is if you have the shutdown code. So this didn't really make any sense to me. And when Sam was talking about creating a distraction, I don't think she was talking about blowing up the queen. She was just talking about making an explosion happen in general, I think. So I was confused.
I disagreed because I don't think that just making an explosion would be enough to distract the replicators. But if they threaten the queen, that will be enough of a distraction.
But why would they even need that distraction? Like, if she had found the code.
I guess I'm seeing it in the eventuality she can't find the code, but the replicators are still trying to get into the room.
I see. Okay.
That's how I interpreted the situation.
Okay. That makes more sense.
I'm glad I could explain away plot holes.
Back in the Asgard core room, Marx is studying some Asgard code. It's good that he also knows how to read ancient or Asgard or whatever this is. Not ancient. It wouldn't be ancient, but this does say that it is a graphics code, which Jeff mentioned he had read was Java. So that's weird that the Asgard are using JavaScript.
That is very weird.
Anyway, the program is huge. This is presumably the replicator program, but even though it was written by a human, it was written to be used with this Asgard technology. So anyway, it's weird. And it's going to take weeks to get through, he says, but Sam just tells him to skim it. Marx points out that the line of code they're looking for could just be like a line of code and he could very easily miss it if he's just skimming. But Sam says that it's a base directive, so it should be something that stands out, theoretically, whatever that means.
Yeah. About 2 million lines of code, do we think?
Yeah, got to go through it all one by one.
Yep.
Back down in the cargo hold with Mitchell and Merrick. It's really not Merrick. It's a replicator wearing Merrick as a suit. A disturbing Merrick suit.
It's like something that's wearing air. Like a suit.
He asks for some sugar water. Mar.
An egg suit.
Give me sugar and water.
Mitchell asks, what the hell is that? As Merrick is walking forward, it's really gross because we see his back, which is just like all raw flesh and replicator pieces. And yeah, it's nasty. Mitchell fires on him, and of course, that doesn't do anything. And Merrick throws him across the room.
Great.
Yeah. And then takes his gun also. So things aren't looking great for Mitchell. He's in for another ass whooping, as he has had so many times in this show.
Really goes through it, that Mitchell.
Yep.
Then we're back on the planet with TheArk. It's just hanging out on a table. Vala is brought in by 2 priors into this room with TheArk. There is a giant oval wall of fire. It looks kind of like a mirror rather than like the wall of fire we saw with the Doci the first time. So smaller fire.
Yeah.
And she's like, great, so much for the rumors. And then it's Adria coming out of the mirror, we'll call it, the fire mirror.
Of course.
She is flamey.
She is very flamey.
Very flamey. And again, Vala's sort of like, oh, great. Back up on the ship, the replicators are coming for the core room. So the folks outside need to start shooting at them. Inside, the core room, Sam's like, oh no. And Marx is like, what? She says she asked the core to analyze the program to look for the shutdown command, and it says there isn't one. So why did they need to look through the code at all?
To figure out that there wasn't one?
But why could she ask the core to analyze the program and then it just tells her?
Wait, what?
She says she asked the core to analyze the program looking for the shutdown command.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know why they would be looking. I guess she hadn't asked it that yet.
Maybe. So Marx asks if they can write one, and she says she's already started. So
if it was that easy, why didn't they just start writing one before bothering to look for it? They could just write a second one.
I don't know.
It made no sense.
Just to drag this out a little bit longer. Back down on the planet, Adria says, good to see you, Mother. Or maybe I call you Vala since you don't think of me as your daughter. And Vala's like, seems like you don't have any blood left to speak of, speaking of blood relation. Adria confirms finally, even though I think we all knew, that Merlin's weapon worked and the Ori were destroyed. So Adria is all that's left. Vala says Adria doesn't seem too cut up about the deaths of all the Ori, and Adria's like, yeah, I'm not. Because now I get all of the worship power from the humans that worship me, instead of having to share it with anyone.
Great.
She also, while they're having this conversation, is circling Vala, but also keeps disappearing and reappearing.
It was very annoying.
I agree. I found it very annoying as well.
I did not like it. It was so annoying.
Yeah.
It would have given me a headache if it was me, because when I turn my neck too far in either direction and like keep looking over that way, I get a headache because my neck is dumb.
Yeah, no, but it was annoying. Yeah. Adria says it's a shame she can't use the Ark to convince everyone in the Milky Way to follow her. She says it would be more humane than the method of mass murder or forced worship. Vala wants to know why she can't use the Ark, and Adria says it's just not the same. So what does that mean then? She says she can't use it, but it sounds like she could. She just doesn't want to.
They do clarify in just a minute, I think, don't they?
Well, she says people need to be convinced to see me for what I really am, but...
Well, so it turns out that the Ark can't be programmed to make people believe whatever you want. The Ark can only make people believe what is actually true. So she can't use the Ark because her being God isn't true.
I guess. That's what Vala says, but do we know that? And also, what is truth?
Well, what is truth? Is truth unchanging law? We both have truths. Are mine the same as yours?
But let's not have that discussion.
Yeah, but like, I know that they had said earlier in the movie that they had implied that it was only the truth in the first scene, but then Daniel had later said you could program it to believe whatever you want, but then later on, they do strongly imply a few times that it can only be used to make people believe the truth. So if they're trying to convince everyone that Adria is a god, then the Ark can't be used for that because that isn't true.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Adria says once all of the ancients are dead, which is still her plan to kill all the ancients, taking up the mantle of the Ori, she will be an unchallengeable power worshipped by all beneath her, and isn't that really a god? So wouldn't that be true? And great. Feeling good about this situation.
Indeed.
Adria is very gloaty.
She is. Yeah. Quite. Next, we're back with Mitchell and Merrick. I don't have a clever name for this version of Merrick.
I couldn't, there's no way to combine replicator and Merrick well.
No. Could call him the Merrick suit. But anyway, we're back with Mitchell and Merrick. And Mitchell manages to get up and pull out one of his other guns, but before he can fire it, Merrick throws him again into some metal barrels. So not only does Mitchell keep getting thrown, but he keeps getting thrown into things. And it's basically just a lengthy scene of Merrick throwing Mitchell around. Mitchell keeps getting back up, tries to fight or defend himself, and then just gets thrown again. So yeah, really not going very well for Mitchell.
No.
Back out with the Marines and Binder. This is just a lengthy scene of lots of replicators being fired upon and disintegrating. But as much ammo as we saw in that montage, they are running out of ammo, so that's not great. Sam radios to Mitchell, telling him that they could use that distraction right now, but of course, since he's busy getting his ass kicked, he can't do that. He says he's working on it. That's the best he can do. And then we get more scenes of him getting his ass kicked. He does manage to actually stab a knife into Merrick's shoulder, but that really only slows him down for all of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Mitchell gets thrown around some more. Sam calls to him on the radio saying that they're being overrun and he really needs to draw them away somehow. Mitchell's sounding more and more haggard every time he speaks. Mitchell does say that he's on it, but as he's looking around for the detonator that he's lost from his pocket, Merrick picks it up and asks if he's looking for that. Oh, oops.
Oops.
Mitchell asks, did I drop that? For whatever reason, Merrick throws the detonator away as he charges at Mitchell.
Loves throwing things.
He does, yeah. That was weird.
Yep.
Mitchell manages to actually dodge this time, and he picks up his gun. Merrick tries to use the knife that Mitchell had stabbed him with to stab Mitchell, but it doesn't work. Basically, he catches the knife, and I was wondering how Mitchell's strength was at all any match for Merrick's strength here, as Merrick is trying to stab him in the face, and Mitchell is holding him off, essentially, with the knife right in front of his face.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense that Mitchell is still alive at this point either.
Right,
so.
Given how many things he's been thrown into. Very hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
You doubt my power.
But anyway, Mitchell does not get stabbed, but he doesn't win either and ends up getting dragged off by the leg by Merrick.
Oh, poor Mitchell.
Yep.
Out in the mud plains, Teal'c is still lying down. We see the gaping wound in his back.
'Tis but a scratch.
And then we see some floaty ascended hand come and put its hand over Teal'c's wound, and it heals.
Miraculously all better.
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck did that?
Same.
Aren't they supposed to not be getting involved?
Yes, but I think we find out in a bit exactly who.
Yes,
but
we do. But
I was actually thinking it was Oma Desala, but it is not. And then I was confused as to how she had escaped her fight with Anubis.
Yeah. But it's fine, because Teal'c is okay.
Yep.
Then Teal'c gets back up, and this time he doesn't have to limp along. He's running towards the city.
Indeed.
Go, Teal'c, go. Inside the city, Vala's still talking to Adria. Vala is like, why do you want to fight the ancients? Maybe you have enough worshippers? Did you think of that? Live and let live? Be happy?
Yeah. You've already got plenty of people. Why do you need more?
But I think we've learned that anyone who amasses a lot of things just keeps wanting more. It's a disease.
It is.
Adria, though, says the ancients are a threat to her. And Vala's like, they don't care about you, though. They let the Ori do whatever they want. They'll let you do whatever you want, too. But Adria says that's what you see. But what you're not seeing is they gave you the means to destroy the Ori. And they're going to come after me, too. Through you, maybe. Again, I don't know. And so she will not rest, she says, until they're wiped from existence. And Vala says, I wish you hadn't inherited my determination. So she hasn't completely thrown away her ties with Adria. Adria then walks back into her oval wall, and it's just a wall of flames again, and Vala hears some noise behind her. She sees lights on the Ark have lit up, which was not new before, and it's making some noise.
Yeah.
But then the lights shut off. And she's like, what? Looking around like, what was that? What was that? More interference?
But we don't find out yet, because next we're back on Earth with Walter. He tells Landry that they've got some Ori motherships exiting hyperspace. So that's bad. And also, he's got Colonel Ellis. He patches Ellis through to Landry, and Ellis tells them that they do have visual on the enemies, and they appear to just be holding position. They're trying to figure out why. They think maybe it's because they know of the weapons platform in Antarctica, but the weapons platform in Antarctica is apparently not capable of defending the planet against the Ori ships anyway, which I thought was the whole point for putting a ZPM there once they got all those extra ZPMs.
I think it's the quantity of Ori ships that's the problem.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Yeah. So they don't know why they are waiting exactly. They're just glad that they are not actually attacking immediately, because that gives them a little bit more time to figure out something, because they're completely outgunned here with this many Ori ships. But Ellis isn't convinced that more time really helps them anyway, because there's literally nothing that they can do. But Landry says maybe SG1 will show up at some point.
They always do.
Indeed. Back in the Ori Galaxy, the Odyssey exits hyperspace. Not intentionally. Apparently they just dropped out because things are not going well because the ship's being taken apart. Sam says that that's funny because she was just thinking they couldn't get any more screwed. So the replicators have taken over navigation and hyperdrive control, Marks confirms. And then, of course, all of a sudden, there's 4 Ori motherships surrounding them again, dropping out of hyperspace right behind them. And they start firing immediately on the Odyssey. And then there's replicators. Things just keep getting worse and worse.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
So now Marks and Sam have to fight off a bunch of replicators.
Going well.
Indeed.
Down in the cargo hold, Merrick keeps beating the shit out of Mitchell.
Yep.
He finally shoves Mitchell against a wall and grabs him by the throat, choking him. Mitchell manages at this point to reach behind Merrick's head and pull a replicator leg out of his head. Gross.
Yeah.
And for just a moment, it's regular Merrick instead of suit Merrick. And he begs Mitchell to kill him. And Mitchell's like, I'm trying. Merrick says that they did this to him to get the self-destruct code. But the joke is that Merrick himself doesn't know what the self-destruct code is. It's on the B side of the crystal he put in the control room. Great. The replicator reasserts control. But this gives Mitchell time to pull a power conduit conveniently behind him and shove it at the replicator Merrick and electrocutes him a bit. Yay. Then we're down in Daniel's cell where he is getting another Merlin vision.
Oh, good Merlin ping to you.
Merlin tells him, it's not over, don't give up. Daniel says, you're not Merlin. Merlin continues to encourage him and says he's here to help him. Tells Daniel to find the strength. Daniel keeps saying no. He's had it. He's not in the mood for games. So, show yourself, Morgan Le Fay.
Morgan Le Fay healed Teal'c.
Morgan Le Fay all along. After a few more insistent words from Daniel, Morgan Le Fay finally becomes Morgan Le Fay. Daniel wants to know why this disguise was necessary, and she says, you know how complicated it could be. Interfering with lower planes is not allowed, but how would appearing as Merlin fool the other ancients?
Yeah, I don't know.
But okay.
It makes no sense.
Daniel is like, yeah, I know what happens. I've interfered before myself when I was an ancient. She says that she was stopped once before, it was exiled for it, and Daniel's like, but you're here now. They go back and forth about why she's doing this and why she can't help further still, even though she's already gone this far.
Yeah.
She's claiming she's done all she can, and Daniel's like, no, you can do more, and you have to. But Morgan Le Fay says Adria is too powerful for her. She has all the power of the Ori, so one ancient against one Ori who has all the Ori power is not going to work. Daniel tells her to take away the collective power. But how could she do that?
She just told you that Adria is too strong for her, so how is she supposed to take away that strength? That makes no sense, Daniel.
Yeah. She says she's done all she can. She's distracted her and helped the humans as much as she can. Daniel refuses to accept this, but she does give final information that they just have to use the Ark on one prior because they are networked. If you infect one prior with the truth, they'll all be infected with the truth. And doing that will make Adria weak enough for her to do something.
If they're all networked, how do they even have any powers left?
I don't know.
If there's no Ori left. Like, I know Adria has all the Ori power, but...
Yeah, it's not clear.
No. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Daniel keeps asking how he can do this, but she disappears on him. A prior shows up at Daniel's cell, but guess what? It's not a prior, it's just a guy in a hood, and the hood comes back, and it's Teal'c! Woo!
Indeed.
Teal'c to the rescue.
Yeah!
Back on the Odyssey, Mitchell manages to reach his radio And also the C4 detonator, both. He calls to Sam to let her know that the self-destruct program is on the other side of the crystal. It's not quite clear whether or not Sam can hear him over all of the firing, but we do see her kind of glance towards the radio as he's saying that. And then Mitchell pushes the button on the detonator. And we get a really weird slow motion scene of him jumping out of the way of the explosion. It just seemed very weird to me. It was a very long slow motion scene of him jumping away from the explosion.
It was. I did not think he was far enough away to make it, but okay.
No, I guess he hit the ground enough so that most of it went over his head, I guess. But Merrick was caught in the explosion, so
hopefully that'll take care of it, since electrocuting him didn't work.
Yeah, surely that's fine. So then Mitchell loses consciousness, finally, which how he was still conscious, I don't even know. And then we're down in the dungeon again in the City of the Gods with Toman, and Vala comes in. Why they just, left her there in the room and allowed her to wander the ship after that, I had no idea. It made no sense. But they didn't put her back in her cell after her confrontation with Adria. They just let her wander around. So she came to rescue Toman.
So weird.
Because she also got keys from somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know where the keys came from, but she's got keys and she finds the right key. And so she's able to go in and help pick Toman up because he's unconscious on the ground too. And she promises him everything's going to be okay. Asks if he can pull himself together. And he nods. So good. She wants his help finding Daniel, but they don't need to find Daniel because Daniel and Teal'c have found them, and everyone is delighted at this reunion. And now it is time to go find the Ark, but they don't need to find the Ark either because Vala knows exactly where it is because, again, she was allowed to just wander around the ship after she'd seen it. Just weird.
Yep.
Back up on the Odyssey, Sam and Marks are still firing at all of the replicators, but she did apparently hear Mitchell, so she is futzing around with the crystals also in between shooting. Down in the cargo bay area, Mitchell isn't dead somehow. So he wakes up and starts to get up. And then also Merrick is still not dead either. He has no flesh left on him at all, but he's just a replicator skeleton now.
Yeah.
A creepy one, too. Not like a normal shaped skeleton, like a deformed skeleton. Yep. And he gets up very Terminator style and starts walking towards Mitchell. Up in the core room, Sam puts the crystal back into the slot, having flipped it over to its B side and closes it, goes back to firing. Out in a hallway, we see a bunch of replicators slowing down and all of a sudden just stopping. Mitchell now has the creepy skeleton thing pretty much right in front of him, but it also stops. We get another view of Binder and his team continuing to fire on all of the tons of replicators coming at them. The skeleton replicator raises its hand like it's going to punch Mitchell, but then it pauses mid-punch before actually smashing him in the face. And then it falls apart.
Hasta la vista, baby.
With that very satisfying noise of disintegrating replicators. And then also all of the other replicators that had swarmed into that area fall apart as well.
Woo!
Out in the hallway where Binder and all of his people are, the replicators fall apart there. The replicators fall apart in the Asgard core room. Everything is looking great, except that the shields are only at 18% and the hyperdrive is still offline and they're still being fired on by the Ori. So it's not that great. It's slightly better.
Slightly better, yeah.
Just still terrible in a different way.
Yeah. Back in the City of the Gods, Vala is explaining her encounter with Adria and about how she had seen lights on the Ark. And Daniel says that was Morgan Le Fay. They reach the Ark, and that's great. Daniel wants to know which symbols, and Vala's like, you expected me to remember that? Daniel says, yes. With the weight of 2 galaxies hanging in the balance, yes. Yes, I did. And Vala says they weren't glowing for that long, and it was more like a bright light. And then she turned around, and then they shut off, and she went to look for them, she says. Daniel doesn't care. He just wants her to tell him which ones. And she's like, I think 1 around here, and 2 here, and 2 over here. Were they on in any order, Daniel says. Vala says, no, they were on all at once. Daniel is very annoyed. I get it. Vala, I would also not have remembered all of those lights.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was very fast.
Yeah.
Chill out, Daniel. But not really, because you're in a tense situation. So Teal'c alerts them that someone's coming. Daniel needs to start working on this. He starts guessing based on words. He's like, maybe truth. Doot, doot, doot. It didn't work the first attempt.
She did at least have a general idea. I don't know, did you mention that there was like 2 on each side and 1 on one side? Yeah.
Yeah. They're working on it, though, but the Doci arrives. Teal'c shoots at him. The Doci is not affected by this. And he throws Teal'c across the room with his brain.
Lots of people getting thrown all over the place.
All over the place. The Doci then throws Toman. And that's about it for that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're back up with the Odyssey. It is still being fired upon by the 4 Ori ships that are surrounding it. Things aren't going so great. Mitchell has somehow managed to make it to the bridge. I don't really know exactly how.
Take him to the bridge!
But he is on the bridge. He crawls up into the chair and gets on the comms and tells them that they surrender. The ships continue to fire. He keeps pleading with them, we surrender, please stop firing, we surrender. But either the Ori are not listening or do not care. Sam radios to him to let him know that she's not going to get the hyperdrive back on time. So things are not looking good for them. And she tells Mitchell that they can't take a whole lot more of this. Back down in the hall in the City of the Gods, the Doci suddenly stops fighting everybody and immediately faces the flamey wall, gets down on one knee, looks down at the ground, and Adria steps back down off of the wall, bringing her flames with her. And she tells everyone that there's only one path and that they can't win. We see Daniel and Vala exchange a look with each other. So Vala approaches Adria and apologizes to her and says that she wishes things could be different. And while the two are chatting, Daniel keeps pushing buttons. I really didn't understand how Adria could possibly not notice this, but here we are. Yeah. So she continues to distract him as he tries another different combination. And this time, the red light on the top lights up.
Woo!
Meanwhile, Teal'c, laying on the floor, crawls over to a staff weapon and shoots the leg out from under the ark on the table. And as perfect luck would have it, the table falls over. Not only does it fall over, but of course, obviously it's not luck that it fell over after the leg was shot. But what is lucky is that when it fell, the ark opened. And not only did it open, it shot the Doci straight in the face with a giant beam of light that emanated from it when it opened. I don't think you actually needed to be hit by the beam of light in order for it to have effect, it doesn't seem, but it did add to the dramatic effect that it was beaming straight on him, straight on the face.
Yeah. Do you think there's a Girl Scout cookie in the Ori universe called the Doci Dough?
Yes, I do.
And a dance move?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Both a cookie and a dance move.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
The Doci Dough.
So not only does this beam pass through the Doci, but we see various priors in various places that are chanting at people, suddenly looking a little distracted. Yeah. And then we see up on the various prior ships that the people controlling those ships suddenly look a little distracted. Adria very suddenly realizes that, she's not as strong as she had been. She tells them that they can't take away her power, but as Vala points out, we already did, so a little too late for that. She, of course, threatens them all with eternal damnation, but all of a sudden, Morgan Le Fay is there. And she tells Adria, not if I have anything to do with it. Adria tells Morgan that she's no match for her, but now that Adria is just normal strength, normal ascended strength, and not all Ori ascended strength, it's an even match. So Morgan turns into a beam of light, Adria turns into a beam of fiery light. The two of them fight, a la Morgan Le Fay and Anubis, and swirl around each other, and then disappear.
Light fight.
Yes.
And the magic of colored lights.
The Doci, kneeling on the ground, quietly mutters to himself in a different, whatever their language is, and Vala asks Toman what he says. Toman said, the Doci said, have mercy, I was blind, but now I see. And the Doci looks very distraught.
The Priors are going to need a lot of therapy.
They really are. Yes. A whole lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Do you think that the SGC is going to send out a whole bunch of therapists to help treat them and the various commanders of their armies and whatnot that are also going to be now seeing the errors of their ways?
Given how unimportant mental health seems to a lot of people, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. We definitely do not prioritize it enough in this country, unfortunately.
No. Yeah. Also, they'd be like, they can get their own therapist.
Yes, also, that probably would be true as well.
Yeah. Up by the Odyssey, fortunately, all of this Priors seeing the light situation has caused the Ori to stop firing on the Odyssey before it blows up. Yay!
Ooh.
Sam radios to Mitchell to ask why they stopped, and Mitchell's like, I don't know, but it's good that they did. Down on the planet, the Doci is crying, Yeah, it's not
Did feel a bit bad for him. It was reminiscent of when we've seen various Goa'uld that suddenly didn't have their hagfish controlling them anymore.
Yeah, so that's not good.
Yeah.
Daniel tells Vala that the word that opened the Ark was origin.
Cheeky.
He realized while Adria was talking that the ancient version of the word also means truth in other dialects, so he thinks the Alterans thought that would be ironic. We love irony. Vala thinks irony is very overrated. And then we're in the SGC.
Yeah.
The team's returned. Landry and Teal'c go to see Prior No Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah. The Prior asks if Landry is reconsidered, but Landry says no. Teal'c hands the Prior his staff, which is a strange thing for your enemy to do.
Yeah, but it's not lit up, and it is powerless, they do say at some point.
Yeah.
They're completely useless now.
Yes. So Landry then says they have something to show him, and Daniel brings in TheArk and opens it. So I guess the network does not span across galaxies. They've got to do this network of Priors separately.
Yeah, they did mention that somewhere. Yeah. There is a distance limit to it.
Yeah, so yay!
Woo.
They've de-Ori'd the Priors.
They have. Then we're in the infirmary. Mitchell has been stitched up and bandaged up, and he is laying in bed, not looking very great, clearly in pain. He's reading through some mission reports or something. And then Sam comes in, dressed in normal clothes, and she's just here to say hi. Basically, checking in on him. Mitchell asked how it went, and it turns out he was asking about what happened with this Prior. Daniel had at some point figured out that the Prior staffs don't work without the Ori. They are all connected somehow, so basically any Priors that are still out there don't have any power anymore. So yeah, it seems like all of the ones in this galaxy got the message when they gave the Ark treatment to the one Prior that they had, and it seems like pretty much everybody in the other galaxy is neutralized too, so mission accomplished.
Yeah.
For real this time.
Yeah.
And also the ships have gone, so that's even better.
Indeed.
Sam asks how Mitchell's doing, and he says that he's felt worse. I'm not so convinced, but I guess he did almost lose the ability to walk, so maybe that's true.
True.
And Sam tells him that when he's feeling better, the IOA wants to meet with him. So great. Something to look forward to. But Sam says that it's an apology, so don't worry. Mitchell says, well, maybe my recovery will take a good long while so that he doesn't hopefully have to go talk to them anytime soon. But Sam hopes it doesn't take him too long to start feeling better. But then when she gets up, she taps him on the chest or the abdomen or something, which makes him, of course, scream in pain. And as she's about to leave, Mitchell asks what's in the paper bag that she left sitting at the foot of his bed. And we get a deep cut back to when Sam was in the hospital and Mitchell had baked her some macaroons via using his grandmother's recipe. Sam has baked him some macaroons and gives him a kiss on the cheek after asking if his cheek is okay. So it was nice. Yeah. And after she goes, he pulls out a macaroon from the bag and smells it and just looks really happy and holds it to his chest over his heart. And it was very adorable.
Yeah.
Although it did not look like a macaroon because I noticed it had a pecan on it and also a frosting drizzle.
I did see the pecan.
Those are not things that macaroons have.
Yeah, but maybe they're a special Sam brand of macaroon.
Yeah. She
Her
baked
own
them
recipe.
herself
Yeah.
after all. So,
yeah.
And she looked very pleased with herself when she said that she baked them herself. It was cute.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the SGC, Vala is talking to Toman. He's all dressed back in his... Or he's still dressed or dressed again. I don't know. He's wearing his regular Ori soldier uniform.
Yeah. He had been out of his armor for when we were seeing him before. Although you'd think they would want him to keep his armor when they were in danger before, but they didn't have him in it.
Yeah. But Vala tells him he's going to make a great leader. And why is it that Toman is the leader, do we think? I don't know.
I'm assuming just because he was already in a position of power.
And he's also the only Ori soldier we know.
And that also, yes.
Yeah. Toman mentions that when the prior was torturing him, he still found the teachings of Origin helpful to give him strength.
We never really did figure out who wrote the Book of Origin, right? Because I know you and I have debated before, was it the Ori that wrote it or was it someone else that wrote it and then they just adopted it?
Yeah.
And it's just weird. We still don't know.
Yeah. So, he's still working through his situation. And again, in books like that, there can be stories and lessons that are valuable to people, regardless of your bloodthirsty god. Vala says that that's what makes it such a powerful lore for people. It does have morality and wisdom. The principle of bettering themselves and seeking ascension in one way or another is what it's all about. And Toman says the book just needs revision. So yeah, he could be a great leader and rewrite their Origin Bible. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Vala does offer that they should leave out the part about burning people alive for not following the rules.
Probably.
And maybe add some color pictures. Toman then turns serious and wants to know maybe if Vala wants to come back and be his wife. But Vala says she doesn't know where she belongs, but she hopes it's here at the SGC. So sorry. But then Toman promises to spend the rest of his life making up for the terrible things he did. And Vala says she will do that too. And that's their goodbye.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Out in a hallway in the SGC, Daniel and Landry are walking together. He says he knows he's the one that found the Ark, but he's still not entirely happy that they ended up having to use it, but didn't see any alternative. Landry says that nobody disagrees with him, so everybody thinks that it is the right thing, even though it was forcing people to believe a certain thing. At least that thing they were believing is the truth, I guess. But it's a really dangerous piece of technology. It shouldn't just be left lying around, and Landry says it's out of his hands already because it is at Area 51, where top men can be doing some research on it. Daniel is very worried about it falling into the wrong hands because we've seen technology getting stolen out of Area 51 on this series before. So
their security is famously impenetrable.
Yeah. Yep. So he's not too thrilled, but Landry's adamant it's out of his hands. There's nothing he can do about it. It is at Area 51 already, and that's it.
Then we have our final wrap up. The team is ready to go on a mission. They're talking about how strange it is not to have a big bad guy to fight anymore. And Sam's like, well, we've been here before, too. We had the Gould and the replicators and then the Ori, so who knows? There might be more. Don't forget about the Wraith.
They have already forgotten about the Wraith. That's a different galaxy.
Yeah, there's no overlap.
There's a
no
whole
reason
different
to worry.
show for that.
They get into the gate room. They're talking about how Daniel and Vala are to blame for bringing the Ori on them. In a playful way. So funny. Teal'c mentions that there are many planets yet to explore in their own gate system. So that's what they're going to do now. They're going to go look for mysteries on this next planet. Vala is still interested in what treasure they might find as well. And then Mitchell tells Walter to hit it. And the gate starts dialing. End of movie.
End of movie. Kathy, did you like the movie?
A little? As soon as the replicators showed up, I was just like, I'm done with this. Huh. It felt like two movies in one.
Yeah, kind of did.
Sam and Mitchell fighting the replicators, and then the rest of the team on the planet. And maybe it's because we've had too recently dealt with so many replicator things on Atlantis that I was just like, I'm so done with the replicators. And then I was like, I'm turning this off when the replicator man came. I can't even remember his name. Merrick. There we go. Yeah. Repli Merrick, whatever.
Yeah. Replicator 1000 or whatever.
Yeah. So I hated all of that. I hated that they were split up, the team.
Yeah.
So it just felt very annoying. I mean, it's good that they wrapped up the Ori story finally. Like, they got a chance to do that. I'm glad. Some of it was really good. Some of the visual I really liked. Except for the Adria fire circles, whatever.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah. And the scene with Toman and Teal'c, as I said, I think is the best scene in the whole episode. And I thought it was great. So I'm glad we got a wrap up, but I didn't like half of it. How about you?
Fair. I actually liked it a lot. I was surprised because I think I went into it with really low expectations because I didn't remember liking it the last time I watched it. I didn't really remember much about it, but I thought I remembered not liking it. So my expectations were very low, but I did enjoy it. I thought that it was a pretty good movie. I actually liked the replicators showing up only because I like them as a bad guy better than the Ori. So
that's true.
To me, it kind of drew a bit away from the fact that I really don't like the Ori as a bad guy and gave an enemy that I think is more interesting. But I agree that they have been using it a bit to excess, bringing it to both shows in one way or another. However, I did still find it enjoyable. I like all the little weird sound effects that they make. I don't know why. I didn't find it that bothersome that they were in different places and not working coherently as one team. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't as bothered by it. I can understand why you would be, but I didn't really think much of it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was exciting and more interesting than I thought that it would be. It held my attention pretty well. And it was at least so much better than the last episode of this season.
That's true.
That it also felt refreshing to me because of that, because I hated that so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Really anything that is not as bad as that feels way better.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So overall, I did like this movie.
Good. Yeah. I have one question, though.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about. So they used the device on the priors.
Yeah.
That only took care of the priors, right? They still have a galaxy full of people who are true believers.
I think that they can use this on them too. I think that it only took care of the priors because they were all interconnected. So it is kind of ambiguous as to whether or not they are going. I guess they can't use it again now on the other people because it's in Area 51. So yes, that is my impression, is that there are still believers and that Toman's going to have to. Toman and hopefully the priors.
Yes, they have a lot of atonement.
Yeah, I would think that the priors would probably be involved, and I'm going to be optimistic in hoping that with the Doci and the priors repenting and telling everyone of the errors of their ways, that they will be able to convince the believers that it was wrong and move on from there.
I hope so.
That's my headcanon.
Yeah. That was all. I was just thinking about that. That's a lot of work.
Indeed.
Anyway.
Indeed.
What are we talking about next?
Next is, once again, going to be different between what we're publishing and what we are actually talking about. So next is going to be Origins Episode 2, which I'm not going to describe here because I would have described that in Origins Episode 1. And after that, we're going to do the rest of the Origins series, post that. And we are going to finish up, after that is done, with the second movie, which is Stargate Continuum. According to TVDB, Baal travels back in time and prevents the Stargate program from being started. SG1 must somehow restore history. So it basically sounds like First Contact.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Over at IMDb, the vengeful Baal travels back in time to 1939, where he prevents the Stargate program from being started. In response to his actions, the SG1 team must restore history before they're erased from existence. So I guess it is kind of fitting that we're doing Origins and then this movie that undoes Origins.
True.
Which is for the best because Origins kind of sucks. But I hope people will enjoy our recap of it anyway, because we did have fun recapping it.
Yes.
So yeah, that is the next thing that you and I are recording and will be the last thing that we post.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you, everyone, for going through the gate with us over the last 6 years. Next episode is our final coverage, with the Stargate movie Continuum. We couldn't have done this without you, and we hope to see you out in the universe next time through the gate.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary.
And you've been listening to Stargate Sing. The end.
The end. What she is trying to tell everybody here is that they think that they can use the ZPM on the Odyssey to help them power this space gate, this super gate. But hang on, let me actually see what I'm talking about here. I have to be distracted by her hair.